Three warring kingdoms, three dead princes. His work was almost done. Hello friends, thanks for joining me on Right Shift. My name is Jake Montanez, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about using story prompts or writing prompts to overcome writer's block. Let's go. Alright, so I'm an overscheduler. I will sit down and come up with plan after plan after plan of what I want to write. When it comes down to sitting down and actually doing the writing, I completely blank on what I'm going to be working on. So I've lately been turning to writing prompt books to figure out new and creative ideas of what to proceed with. It's a great way to draw inspiration for the next story that you're going to write. I use them mostly for my short story writing because it's easier to sit down and just sketch out a little story from an idea that I've gotten from somebody else, and it is going to be entirely my story. Obviously, having that little spark of inspiration is something that kicks me into overdrive and allows me to write. My current favorite go-to is the Genre Writer's Book of Writing Prompts and Story Ideas, 540 creative writing prompts in the genres of fantasy, sci-fi, mystery, thriller, horror, and supernatural, and memoirs. The ideas that are inside this book are actually pretty friggin' awesome. It's easy to flip through pretty much anywhere in this book to find something to start from. Just picking one at random, I've got this one here, Fantasy Prompt 88, which is three warring kingdoms, three dead princes, his work was almost done. And what this does is it gives you a little bit of a scenario that you can start from, and you just start picking it apart with some questions that you come up with. It's always the same standard: who, what, when, where, why, and how. And from that aspect, you can build on the story that you want to come up with. So with this one, it's got three warring kingdoms. The easiest question to ask there, not the easiest one to answer, obviously, but the easiest one to ask is, why are they at war? And then the next one is, there are three dead princes. What is the relevance of these three dead princes? And his work was almost done. Who is he? What is he trying to accomplish? What is the goal of this person? Is he the protagonist? Is he an antagonist? Is he trying to, divide these kingdoms further? Or is the assassination of these princes something he's trying to do to bring the countries together? You can go any direction you want to with that and create a better story idea from having nothing at all to begin with. So the writing doesn't even have to begin from the story prompt itself, but it gives you an idea of where to pick it apart and come up with something completely original. With this writing prompt that I just looked at, you can name the kingdoms, you can start describing to yourself what kinds of governments rule these kingdoms, you can describe to yourself what they're fighting over. Was it trade disputes? Was it land claims? Were these kingdoms magical? Describe for yourself the history of each of these kingdoms, what they mean to each other, or what they represent to each other or don't represent to each other. You can come up with lineages for the kings or the queens, or if it's a democracy, how the country is ruled that way. Just keep asking questions and pick a thread and go down it. As you are exploring this, you're basically building the world that this story is set in. Or if you just want to answer the questions a little bit enough to understand what the conflict is, this guy here is clearly an assassin. His work was almost done. But maybe he's not an assassin. Maybe he's the guy who employed an assassin to get rid of these three princes. What was his motivation? Why is he trying to do this? As you dig deeper into that character, you can ask yourselves more questions about his psyche. What is his goal to achieve? What kind of thoughts are running through his head? Is what he is doing going to be beneficial to him, or is it trying to benefit somebody else? Or is he just trying to sow a lot of chaos? From there, you can kind of determine what the heck is going on with the story. It's easy to dismiss writing prompts as a way of trying to come up with a story. In order to create something, sometimes you need to have that little spontaneous little seed to come up with an idea to go with, and that's why you want to use a writing prompt. How have you used writing prompts in the past? Please let me know in the comments what kind of stories you've been able to come up with using a writing prompt, or if you've had problems coming up with ideas from a writing prompt, because every time I sit down and look through a writing prompt book, there's always going to be something that doesn't really interest me or spark an idea in my head. But usually there's just as many writing prompts in those books in order for me to figure out something that does work for me, and I like to sit down and go with those ones and build out a story. Please share a story based on the prompt in the comments below. I have a small but growing collection of short stories on Vocal Media and Patreon with longer content on Royal Road. Your support is appreciated.